Not that long ago, I embarked on a journey to clean my office. And today, we're going to do something with these papers. We're going to try to use some of them up. I'm going to do some mark making. I have my watercolor book. This is a moleskin, however you're supposed to say that word. I would have said moleskin, but it does have an E at the end. I hear people saying it different ways. I'm just wetting my paint palette. This is Winsor & Newton travel palette, and I'm wetting my page. I had already masked this off with washi tape years ago, it feels like. Probably 2 years ago. I'm dropping color into these boxes. I took my hairdryer and I dried these, but honestly, because this is so old that it's been on, the heat helped release the tape. And I'm happy about that. So now you can see that I drew some lines on here already, which I didn't even remember. And now I have my squares of color. Now we're going to take these and we're going to start mark making. So I'm just going to get a pen or a pencil or colored pencil or anything I want to use basically over top of this and make different marks on each one of these squares. What could you use for mark making? Well, you could use a brush and some acrylic paints. You could use pens, pencils. So I have some Posca pens. We might try using some of those. I also have these Woodys, which are quite thick. So if I were to make lines with the Woodys, this is what they'd look like. They're quite thick. These are water soluble, but we're going to leave this just as a reminder of what these crayons can do. We're going to call these crayons the Woodys. Now, I find Poscas very persnickety. They kind of have a mind of their own sometimes, and if you're not careful, they'll blob on your paper. I'm going to try not to worry about any of that stuff. And actually, I have this index card, so we're going to test this one. So be aware of how each mark making tool is working. So I'm going to come over here, and we'll just do polka dots, maybe here. Now, I love this neon pen. And I might only do half of a square or a quarter of a square, something like this. Or how about something that looks like birds flying or check marks? You could just do triangles. And the thing I like about this is it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just working in your book, testing out how things might work. So I made a whole video for us about mark making. I've cut a lot of that out, and I decided that if you're interested in the work that has already been done, how I played with this, for instance, and made these marks. These are just a few marks. These are just to give me some ideas, and I like to get started so that I have something in my mind when I start. But if you're interested in how all this went down, I can send you a link to the full uncut video. I'm going to cut these papers up, use glues, and probably use them in my journals at some point. This is just a mark making exercise. I have Caran d'Ache 2s, Neocolor 2s here. They're water soluble. So are these Woodys. They're water soluble, so they're like using watercolor. If I use and make marks with these, when I hit it with anything liquid, it's going to smear, run, whatever. I don't mind that. You might not like it. So keep that in mind. If you don't want things to smear, you have to use something permanent and not something like I'm doing here. Now I'm going to show you a cool way to make a heart. Dot, dot, 2 dots, and you pull your brush through. Dot, dot, pull your brush through. We still have some paint here. We could do just marks. And I like the unevenness, right? The point here isn't to necessarily be making great art. It's to have marks on your page and use this for collage ephemera. Now we're going to talk about things that make marks. So not necessarily brushes or pens, but you know, if you have a gift card kind of thing. So you could do just lines, and then you could even smear it like this. Now this is acrylic paint I'm using here. I have this plastic bottle, whatever this was, but I use this a lot for mark making, so I like these marks a lot that this makes. I also have things like this. This is joint compound tape, one of these daubers, and it creates texture like that. You know, why waste these edges? Now, I would take something like this a little bit differently. I just feel like I can cut these out individually and use these. Now, I like the different mediums and the different marks, so I'm likely to combine all of these together. This is my favorite neon Posca. I love this one. And this is so healing to do this. It's quiet time. You can get lost in this mark making. These were ischemic writing that I was playing with. I might embellish that like a little more. I do crazy writing like this over top of it. And then this, if you did this would be cool in your journal. This is my favorite one that we did right here. I also love this.